In 1975, inside a Kodak laboratory in Rochester, New York, a 24-year-old engineer named Steve Sasson built something the world had never seen, a camera with no film. He held up a digital image on a screen and presented it to his superiors. Their response, "That's cute, Steve, but don't tell anyone about it." Those words, casual, dismissive, catastrophically short-sighted, cost Kodak everything. At its peak, Kodak was an empire. They controlled 90% of the U.S. film market and 85% of camera sales, 145,000 employees worldwide. For 100 years, they had been the keepers of human memory. Birthdays, weddings, first steps, last days, all on Kodak film. And in that same empire, Steve Sasson had just made film obsolete. The executives understood exactly what they were looking at. That was the problem. A filmless camera was not an opportunity. It was an existential threat to every dollar Kodak made. So they buried it, classified it, filed over 1,000 patents on digital imaging technology, and refused to bring it to market. For nearly 2 decades, they sat on the invention that would have saved them. Meanwhile, Sony, Canon, and Nikon were not sitting still. By the early 2000s, digital cameras were everywhere. Kodak's film sales collapsed. The company that had defined photography for a century watched the world move to a format they had invented and chosen not to build. In 2012, Kodak filed for bankruptcy with $6.8 billion in debt. Steve Sasson received the National Medal of Technology in 2009. Kodak's headquarters in Rochester is largely empty today. The lesson has a name: the innovator's dilemma. The moment your most profitable product becomes the thing you are too afraid to disrupt. Kodak didn't fail to see the future. They saw it, they built it, they locked it in a cabinet, and the future arrived without them. September 23, 1999, the Mars Climate Orbiter, 9 months in space, 416 million miles traveled, $327 million spent, arrives at Mars. Mission controllers hold their breath. The spacecraft dips behind the planet to enter orbit, and then silence. It never comes back out. The orbiter had flown too close to the Martian atmosphere. It burned up. It was gone. And the cause of the disaster, the reason $250 million vaporized in the Martian sky, was this. One team was using metric units. Another was using imperial. That is it. No mechanical failure, no design flaw, no act of nature, a unit conversion error. The Mars Climate Orbiter launched in December 1998. Its mission was to study Martian weather, map the climate, and serve as a communications relay for future missions. The engineering was extraordinary. The margins were razor-thin. The trajectory calculations had to be perfect. For 286 days, everything seemed fine. What nobody noticed, what no review caught, no checklist flagged, no protocol identified, was that Lockheed Martin, the contractor who built the spacecraft, was sending navigation data in pound-force seconds, imperial units. NASA's software was expecting Newton seconds, metric. Every single day for 9 months, the trajectory was invisibly slightly wrong, accumulating, drifting. And by the time the orbiter reached Mars, it was miles off course. The post-mortem found the error within days, one software module, one unchecked assumption between 2 teams who never confirmed they were speaking the same language. NASA implemented mandatory metric standards for all interplanetary missions after this disaster. But the lesson runs deeper than unit conversions. It is not enough to build something correctly. Everyone who touches that thing must be working from the same assumptions. In aerospace, in medicine, in business, in any collaboration where the stakes are high and the margin is thin. The orbiter didn't know it was lost until the moment it burned. Don't let your project find out the same way. In 2000, Reed Hastings walked into Blockbuster HQ and offered to sell his company for $50 million. Blockbuster laughed at him. That company was Netflix. Today it's worth over $280 billion. Blockbuster had 9,000 stores and made $800 million a year just from late fees. They felt untouchable. Netflix felt like noise. They were wrong. By 2004, Blockbuster launched their own online service. No late fees, strong catalog. It was working. Then the board panicked, fired the CEO behind it, and pulled the plug to protect short-term profits. Netflix never looked back. By 2010, Blockbuster was bankrupt. $900 million in debt, 60,000 jobs gone. One store survives today in Oregon as a museum. They didn't lose because Netflix was smarter. They lost because when they had the chance to win, they chose comfort over courage. When the future offers itself at a discount, you don't laugh. You open the door.